This week, the Biden administration announced sanctions against both Russia and Iran, targeting Russia's security service and Iran's elite military intelligence unit. Now, the sanctions were an attempt to hold the two countries accountable for detaining U.S. citizens in both of those countries. But will these sanctions actually do anything to help release those Americans being held? We're going to bring in counterterrorism and foreign policy expert, editor-in-chief of the Foreign Desk, host of the Foreign Desk podcast, Lisa Daftari. Lisa, great to have you with us. So are those sanctions going to work to help make Americans or get Americans home, keep them safe?
Well, yeah, they can. That's what sanctions are for. But this administration has always, talked about sanctions from the podium, but it's never been attached to any behavioral change as sanctions should be, and they've never been enforced. So when you look at rogue actors like Russia, like China, like the Iran regime, they've always gotten away with murder because they have been able to. We take Iran, for example. They are holding Americans hostage there. In the one breath, we're imposing sanctions on them and saying, you have to let these hostages go. And on the other breath, the Iran regime knows very well how much the Biden administration would love to get another nuclear deal out of them. So the policy has never matched the rhetoric. So we can speak very harshly from that podium, and you can talk about bringing home those hostages and those American families that are suffering because their loved ones are being held. But the bottom line is, Iran's regime, or Russia more recently taking a Wall Street Journal reporter hostage, they wouldn't take these hostages if they actually feared the United States, if they actually thought that there would be real consequences, and if the sanctions had been working up to now.
And according to reports, a U.S.-bound oil tanker was just seized by Iranian forces as well. Let's pull out into the region a little bit, because the administration's position with respect to Iran has also had a ripple effect across the Middle East, whether it's Saudi Arabia or the UAE or Israel or Syria. He's getting ready to run for re-election. He says he wants to finish the job. But let's talk about the state of some of these other countries and our relationship with them under this administration.
Yeah, it's a great way of really understanding the Biden foreign policy, because what we hear in the mainstream media is not accurate at all. And the biggest example of that is the deal that China was able to broker between Iran's regime and Saudi Arabia, who had been sworn enemies for over 4 decades. And all of a sudden, you see them working together. Whereas when Donald Trump left office, we were waiting, we were looking at the clock and wondering when Saudi Arabia would join the Abraham Accords and move closer to the United States and, of course, Israel, in really grouping together the moderate actors of the Middle East. But what we're seeing more and more in terms of our foreign policy is that we're the ones who are being isolated and estranged from the rest of the world, while our enemies and sometimes our frenemies are moving closer to one another, because that's what's benefiting them. Saudi Arabia is not in love with Iran's regime, but it's understanding that there will be opportunities if they move closer to China. And you can really connect the dots on so many of those things. While the Biden administration is looking towards getting reelected and moving back into the White House in 2.5 years, they're hoping that their crown jewel will be the Iran nuclear deal. And that is not a secret. As much as they have distanced themselves a bit from Iran's regime because of 7 months of protests on the streets of Iran, because of all the chest thumping that we're seeing from Iran's regime, including taking that oil tanker in, we're seeing a lot of bad behavior from Iran's regime. So the White House has created some distance. But at the end of the day, they're hoping that that crown jewel of Biden's foreign policy, just like Obama's, will be that Iran nuclear deal. And it's a shame. It's a big shame. And it's a big error in terms of our foreign policy as a whole in terms of the Middle East.
And Lisa, while we have you here with us, we want to share this with everybody. The Simon Wiesenthal Center is honoring you this May as the 2023 Medal of Valor recipient for your work and advocacy for Iranian women. Tell us about what the meaning is of an award like this. I know it goes way beyond just being publicly honored.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for mentioning this. I obviously will be accepting this award on behalf of the women of Iran and all the Iranian people and all the people throughout the Middle East and the rest of the world who have shown tremendous courage and who do not have a voice and are not able to come on air like I am, showing my hair, wearing what I want to wear, saying what I want to say. And as an Iranian American, this has never been lost on me. From the moment that I could remember, I was cognizant of the blessings I had, the freedom that I have in this country, and have used my voice to defend those who cannot defend themselves and to speak out. And right now, it's just my luck that I have been at this forefront in my career, that I'm able to use language skills and my ability to report from the region and to really get their voices out there. So I really accept this on their behalf. I pass along the honor to them and really honor the women of Iran who've shown such tremendous courage in the face of such brutality.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
And
Lisa.
Lisa Daftari, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.